welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, I had a request to do a distro, and I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, and I wanted to go ahead and do a quick test. So we're going to have a look here at KaOS. This is the brand new release. This is sort of like a rolling release type distro. It's a little bit unique. So let's go ahead and dive on into the release notes, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about this. So KaOS itself is based on, it's its own individual distro. It's not based on anything specifically. So it's not Arch, it's not Debian, not Solus, etc. So it uses the pacman manager. So if you're familiar with that, then you will know how to use that. But one thing about it is that it's only used the Qt applications. So there is nothing GNOME on the system at all. KDE is the only desktop environment that it has, so some people will probably really love it because of that. Some people will really hate it because of that. For me, I'm used to having a lot of distros with a variety of different applications and not having the GNOME applications. I had to stop and look at the list. What is on here that I really use that's a GNOME application, you know? And there's good alternatives for about everything. So the thing is that KaOS has a lot less items in the repositories, and it does run pretty light. Some of that's because Plasma 513 is embedded in it, and that is a fairly light system. So this runs on about half a gig of RAM, which is pretty good for a modern operating system, particularly one with as much stuff as Plasma has. So here's the release announcement. There's a few different things in here. Now, one of the things I really liked about this on install is right when you boot it up, you have the option to boot it into the live key with non-free NVIDIA drivers. So that will solve some problems for people running NVIDIA where in some instances you have to fight with NVIDIA for a while to get everything working right. And so they've actually taken care of that issue. They have also created a new welcome screen, which has more options in feature settings than the old one used to, just so you can get your system set up without going to as many different little places. So if you watch the top 5 I did on Peppermint, then you'll know that there's a lot of different places you might need to go to get a system set up. So this one tries to have all those different things in the welcome screen, much like Linux Mint 19 also has those things in the welcome screen. So it is a rolling distribution, so you need to be aware of that. If you need to have deep stability, you may not want to have this because you're always going to get the latest packages right when they are out. So right now, this guy has Frameworks 5.47.0, Plasma 5.13.1, KDE Applications 18.04.2, and Qt 5.11.1. Now, I am not the back-end Linux geek to know what most of those items mean. I'm more of a front-end user. I'm the guy that tries to do more user-friendly things. What does this mean for us? It means that there's more and better support. Plasma is a lot skinnier, runs a little bit better, and it does have the latest and the greatest on the applications in the framework. As far as the core system, we have, this is running Wayland, like I said, pacman, the Linux kernel 4.16 libkernel, GStreamer 1.14, let's see what else is in there, Network Manager 1.10.10, and the KaOS repositories no longer provide Qt 4, so that is something that is dropped out of this. They do have a note there. Repositories no longer provide Qt 4. There was a good 3 years ago the development for it stopped, late 15. All support including security fixes ended. So any application has not made a transition to Qt 5 in this time can no longer be supported in KaOS. So they are keeping an eye towards security, which is good. That's a good approach. They do have their own ISO writer. This is an excellent thing. This is one of the features I use the most in Linux Mint Cinnamon. Why I like using Linux Mint Cinnamon is because it has its own built-in USB key writer. So the fact that this has a USB key writer, I don't have to write keys in other ways. That's a nice advantage. Calamaris installer is there. Didn't have any issues at all. It booted right up. So that is kind of the release notes. So let's go ahead and dive on into this the desktop and see what it looks like. Okay, so here we are on the loading screen for this. This does not boot into the operating system fast. I will say that. Now, when I installed it, the first time I ran it, even though I installed it to start without a password, the very first time I started it, it actually prompted you for a password. In fact, it wouldn't even take my password. So I shut the system down, rebooted it again, and then it prompted me for the password again. I entered the password, got into the system, and now this time it did not prompt me for the password. All right, so here is this new welcome screen, so you can see what this looks like. So here we have a lot of different modules here. So here is what type of application appearance you'd like to have. Let's just go ahead and keep their main systems in here, just kind of show you that the various icons are. So, okay. So we didn't change anything in there. Here's the Plasma theme. So these are just kind of walking through all the various settings inside of Plasma. So I'm going to take note of the one that we have. Midine, I don't know, whatever, how you pronounce that. So here you can select from a variety of different themes. Like I said, I'm just going to keep everything styled the way that they had it styled, just to show you that there's different things. Window decorations. All right, so themes and buttons. So we have Breeze and then a few other ones here as well. And then buttons, it looks like we just have this one, it looks like. Okay, here's mouse behavior, left-handed, right-handed, flat. We don't have the option here for which button we're going to use, if it's single click or double click. I don't see that option. So again, here's our icon choices. We just have a couple of icon packs installed. Virtual desktops. I will go ahead and change this. I do not like virtual desktops. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that down to 1. So we'll just make that apply setting there. Okay, here's our screen settings. Here's our colors. Font settings. And then we have, you can do wallpapers over here. So it looks like I don't care for this thing here. Apparently it scrolls, but I guess there is this. Okay, there is a scroll bar. It's really hard to see the scroll bar. Now I can kind of go down here and see what type of wallpapers we have available. Downloaded, there's nothing. There's popular. Here's latest. I said it's that bar over there to scroll this needs help. This thing needs help. And I closed the screen out. Let's see if we can grab that guy back. What was that called? CE? I have no idea. I'll have to find it. All right, so as far as everything else is concerned, we have our bar is actually on the side here. Here's our Octopi Notifier. So Octopi is the application that they have installed for. It's kind of like your Synaptic type approach. So you can add and remove applications here, run updates to the system. So if you do want to run, those in the GUI, you can go ahead and do that here. Here's mirror check, cache cleaner, log viewer. Okay, there's our options. Here's syncing database. Let's go ahead and sync the database there. All right, so database is synced. All right, so up here we have lock, we have leave, we have notes, Dolphin, Falcon web browser. Okay. Not familiar with this web browser. I've not seen this one before. All right. They are using DuckDuckGo by default as your search out of the box. That's good. As far as our applications are concerned, so we have Compare, Qt Assistant, Designer, Gallery. There's some card games, KPatience. Graphics, Carbon, we have Krita instead of GIMP, of course. Ocular. Internet, here's IM Contacts, KDE Connect. So pretty much everything KDE is installed. We do have Skype installed. That's kind of interesting. Okay, we have Simple Screen Recorder is automatically installed. We have the Calligra Office applications. I have not used this one as much. I pretty much use LibreOffice because LibreOffice is a powerhouse. It does absolutely everything I need it to do. It's, you know, full function, full feature. It looks like this is probably going to be much the same. But unless there's a reason for me not to use LibreOffice, I wouldn't. I'm just looking right off the top here. There's page layouts. So, I mean, this might do the same, but I would be curious if I can install that or not. System settings. Okay, there we are. There's my welcome screen back. I wasn't done with you. All right. Here's your documents. Some NVIDIA additional kernels. Let's load that up. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that's just leading us to a page giving us information on how to get to the latest kernels. So that's actually nice. Gives us nice tools there to get caught back up. Under Advanced, we have System D daemon. We have energy settings. Okay, so if you ever want to see what's loaded on System D, there you go. That's good. Your firewall application. So the firewall is enabled out of the box. There's KDE Wallet, Pacman Cache, default apps. All right. There's information about and news, and let's go ahead and quit. All right. So as far as out of the box, man, it's I'm not sure I care for the menu setup like this on the side, but that's something we can easily change. Let's go ahead and pull up the About System. You can see our Plasma version 5.13, KDE Framework 5.47.0, Qt 5.11.1, kernel 4.16. All right, so that's good. And of course, so we are running on just under 500 megabytes of space here. So the thing is actually running pretty snappy. It is running pretty fast, pretty snappy as far as a desktop. One of the things I want to see is I want to see what else I could install under here, because as much as I like KDE, there are a lot of applications I use that are not specifically KDE based. So I know, for example, we're not going to find Brassario in here because that's a GNOME system tool. But I am curious if okay, we can install LibreOffice. Of course, since we do have the absolute latest, we can go ahead and it is the latest one. So we'll go ahead and hit that to be installed. I'm not sure if that's installing everything or not. That is not completely clear to me right now, but that's okay. We will figure that out. What else might I use? Obviously, I use Kdenlive. That's going to be in here because guess what? This is based on KDE. Sure, let's go ahead and install that as well. That's the thing that I always get yelled at for not having on my system. Good to see it actually prompting for that. Let's see, what else do I actually use? Okay, OBS Studio. So that is available. That is awesome. Very good. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Let's look at Firefox. Sure. No, let's not do that. Okay, I do like Evolution, which is a GNOME application. The closest one like it is Kmail, but Kmail is actually, the setup configuration is quite a bit different. It's more complex to use for whatever reason. That for me is kind of like, I would run with it. I would go ahead and install. I'd go ahead and install it because I know how to set it up. It's a pain, but I do know how to set it up. It does look like I could probably get away with running this. Most of the applications I'd use are not necessarily tied to either GNOME or KDE, so either way that's good. But still, we have a lot of applications here. So let's just go ahead and apply these. I'm guessing this is my commit button there. So confirm and enter our super secret password that isn't KaOS. So it's kind of doing its thing down here, and we'll be installing. All right, well, that does its thing. Let's come over here, configure desktop, and see what other wallpapers we have here. This is a lot easier to use than that one that they had on that startup screen. You see, it's they got a lot there. There's another nice KaOS wallpaper. So that's pretty nice. I like that. Of course, I like using wallpapers that will name the system that I'm currently reviewing. That way, no matter where the thing decides to pull up its thumbnail from, we have that option. All right. Here's your tweaks. Show the desktop toolbar and press and hold. Thought it was here in this. Oh, that's right. Okay, so over here, layout. So if you do want to have icons on your folder, you need to change that to your folder view. So now we can go in here and we can create folder. And I really like the fact they have a lot of these other items. So if you happen to be new to Linux and you're used to right-clicking and getting a context menu and creating new, if you want to know how to add these on nearly any distribution, what this actually is inside of your home folder, there is a folder that is called templates. At least there should be. Maybe KDE doesn't have it, but there should be a folder here called templates. On nearly every desktop that maybe isn't KDE, you have a folder called templates. And all you do is you create your document that you want to have in that context menu, and you drop it in that template folder. And that is what will appear. That's weird to me. Huh. So on KDE, I have no idea how they're getting on the menu. I like KDE, but I don't like it enough that I sit there and study all the deep ends of it all. All right, there's that. All right. So here is your create new. Here's I can arrange my icons, refresh the desktop, run command, add widgets, lock widgets, open in Dolphin. Here's your configure desktop. All right, let's see. How's this guy doing? Looks like we're still installing stuff. Okay, so that's all done. So now we should be able to come into here, and we should look for these new applications. Under Internet, we should now have Firefox. Under our Office, yes, just installing that one LibreOffice does get me everything. So we do have the absolute latest and greatest of LibreOffice here. See if the spelling checker is in. The spelling checker is not in, unfortunately. So I'd have to go ahead and do this. I'm planning videos about more use on LibreOffice, how to add your plugins if your spelling checker, your synonyms are not in there, how to do other more advanced things. That's kind of in the works for me right now. Let's see. Otherwise, we should also have under Internet, we have our Thunderbird down there. There's the ISO writer. So that is about it. All right. So who is KaOS for? I would say that KaOS is for anybody that wants to try out this type of desktop. If you like KDE and you either want to stay exclusive to that KDE environment, of course, you can either do KDE Neon, which probably is about just as up-to-date as this one is, maybe slightly more up-to-date, but that's more based on the Ubuntu package. It'll have a whole lot more applications. But if you happen to be a person looking to use KDE, but you don't really want all of the bloat that might come with Ubuntu, this makes a logical choice. It does seem to have all of the applications that you might find that are either independent or otherwise. So here's, for example, OBS. In fact, they have OBS on here and a few other applications I looked for. That was actually pretty good. They are running the absolute latest, it looks like. I personally am recording this video on OBS 21.1.0. This is installing 21.1.2. So the one that they are, the one they have in here is more up to date than the one I'm running, just probably because I have not run my updates on OBS lately. But if you need to use either external applications or KDE specific or Qt specific applications, this would be one of those desktops to use. Looks very good, sharp. It seems to be fast. When I closed OBS, it did give me a close unexpectedly. It didn't close unexpectedly. I clicked the close button, so I'm not sure what was up with that. But the time I'm on here, it seems pretty stable. It looks nice. I like this theme as much as I don't really care necessarily for these general types of themes. I like this theme, but even if I didn't, there is a lot of other themes that you can pick from as well. I guess one of the things I'd like to see is what other menu options do we have. So we do have all the basic menu options. That's the basic application menu. I generally prefer the application launcher for my main menu, and the application dashboard I also like. This is another person this desktop is for anybody that really, really likes to configure your computer, because here now we have an application menu that looks like this one here. So there's just so many good things that KDE has. I think that it might have more of a bad rap simply because of how many options and settings there are. There are indeed a lot. So let's go with system settings. To give you an idea, if you are unfamiliar with KDE, here are these system settings. And each one of these options goes multiple layers deep. And so this is what people are talking about. Now, this does actually have, this has a lot of nice... Let's go ahead and play with the theming a little bit. We made it to the end here. Let's play with the theming. I'll show you how I like to theme KDE out of the box. So dark cursors are nice. I really like the oxygen theme across the board. It's just a really nice look and feel. Because I like the skeuomorphism. Some people don't care for that. I really like it. So that's just one of those kind of subjective opinions and stuff. Of course, you can change your splash screen. I think this is the one that was on there. We're just going to go ahead and leave that one there. All right. Colors. There is the oxygen color. We're going to go ahead and go with a darker theme, though. Actually, darker theme with the dark mouse is not always the best. Let's go with oxygen cold. Icon sets. Okay, yep, we're already on that. Okay, of course, so they do have the GNOME Gtk applications. I'm not sure if that has any use in this particular desktop or not. Let's see. Okay, here we are. So here is if you wanted to change your single click. I didn't demonstrate it all, but right now it's doing single click to open things. So if I go ahead and create a new folder here and create my folder, then if I click it once, it opens. Some people really like that functionality. Some people really don't. So if you don't like that, just go into your desktop behavior, change this to double click. That will bring it into more of something that you're used to. Desktop effects, so you can actually do a lot of different desktop effects and things. So I think that's going to blur background things. So if I were to load up my window, it should blur things behind it. Need to configure it a little bit there. Here's your screen edges. Touch screen. This is actually something that is new. This is just newly implemented, so I have not actually tried that out. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of how many settings there are. This is where KDE does have a bad rap, is the vast number of settings. All right, I think we're done looking at this now. Overall, very nice. Like I said, it's for a user that doesn't want to get bogged down with a lot of different things. Maybe even possibly for a new Linux user who doesn't even know about all the other applications. That way you can experiment with things in with fewer applications. And most of the ones that you will find on KaOS in the repos will work with KaOS. They have been hand selected by the team. Overall, I like this desktop. It's pretty cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll try and running it and see if I can get some work done on it. So that's my final thoughts. What are your final thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Switched to Linux. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links at the top. There is another video over here. You can check out our Patreon page down here. And you can check out shop.switchtolinux.com for information on a t-shirt like this or some other designs. Thanks for watching and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.